Z. Thinking about moving to sunny Miami? It's a big step, especially when you have to sell your current home and find the perfect new one at the same time. Imagine flying into Miami and needing to find that dream condo right in the heart of the city. It can feel overwhelming, right? That's where a true relocation specialist makes all the difference. You need a team that can handle everything seamlessly, guiding you from your old front door to your new one in Miami. We're the LRF Group, and we're experts in making this transition smooth and stress-free. As an award-winning team, we've sold over $1.2 billion in residential real estate over the last 14 years. We know Miami inside and out. Let us help you make your move, but visit our website at thelrfgroup.com to get started. We can't wait to welcome you to Miami.
Now we'll get into the condos. Before I show you what's happened with condo inventory, let me first show you what's happened with rates. I just touched on it a short while ago. A year ago, a 30-year fixed rate loan was 7.2, 7.5%. They've dropped by nearly 100 basis points, or 1 full percent lower. Most mortgage bankers, all of them practically, are forecasting that we'll see rates this year, probably in a few months, in the 5s, 5.7, 5.5. No one's really forecasting anything below that. But psychologically, once you dip below 6, tens of thousands of buyers enter the marketplace that want to buy. Forget renting. I'm not building any equity anymore. Now's the time to buy since rates are going down. When all of those people, folks, this is my years of experience selling real estate. I've seen this happen every single time. You have to think of it almost as a seesaw. When rates go down, demand picks up. When rates go up, demand sort of slows down. Well, right now, rates are going down. It's almost as if President Trump is going to have his way one way or another. Short-term rates are going to drop. Long-term rates, like mortgages, are going to drop. When short-term rates drop, you're going to see a lot more construction happening because a lot of developers are waiting for that event. But in the meantime, take a look at what happened with interest rates. Those numbers that I showed you previously, the amount of sales that over 10 million, 30 million, 50. Now, they're not necessarily affected by these interest rates. The amount of transactions are. But when rates drop like this, you're going to start seeing pressure on demand. Clearly, we already have it on the top end. Now you're going to see it on the bottom end. People that are dependent on mortgages are going to start going out and buying houses and condos again because rates are dropping. Now, transactions, well, the amount of transactions by quarter kind of follows the behavior of mortgage rates. When mortgage rates in Q1 last year were around 7%, we closed 5,900 units. And then you see quarter by quarter how the velocity of sales picked up naturally. Rates went down, the amount of transactions picked up. With rates continuing to drop, I think you can expect more of that. What was 5,900 in Q1 came over 8,000 in Q4. Or as if you needed another example, here's some more data. Total amount of transactions that closed in 2024 was almost 24,000. We closed a little over 27,000 last year. A lot of it picked up in the second half when mortgage rates dropped. Mortgage rates are continuing to drop. This is going to be a different year. 2026 is definitely a different year. Price appreciation. Well, when we look at the average price of closed condos, these aren't listings. These are units that actually closed. They've risen by around 13% over the last 2 years, from 2023 through the end of 2025. Now, these are mostly condos that are less than 30 years old. Yeah, we're still dealing with that issue. When we look at the amount of inventory that's in MLS, I've been here for over 30 years. When inventory hovers between, say, 22 and 23,000 units in MLS, that's kind of considered a healthy balance of inventory. It's not a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. It's actually a fair contest. We were a little short in 2023. We're a little short in 2024. Looks like when you look at the 23,900 number for 2025, it looks like we've got the perfect amount of inventory. Not really. Because when you age the inventory, when you look at the difference between the inventory that's 30, 40, 50 years old versus everything that's less than 30 years old, it tells a very different story. People are still reticent, nervous about purchasing any condo more than 30 years old because of the threat of special assessments, which is still very real. Listen, that will calm down. during this year and certainly next year. Because by the end of this year and next year, most of those special assessments will have been paid. Most of these older buildings will be retrofitted back to, say, current code. But at the moment, not all of these special assessments have resolved themselves, so people are still nervous about going in there. So what you have are slightly less than 7,600 condos for sale that people are interested in buying. That's the number of condos that we have that are less than 30 years old. The number should be 22 to 23,000. We still have an inventory problem. Most of you have said to me that will be handled with the new construction that's being delivered very soon. New construction, some of you call it pre-construction. It's kind of the same stuff, but nevertheless, let me walk you through what that means. I think at the end of Q3 last year, we reported on 142 condominium developments in development in Dade and Broward County. That would be Miami, Miami Beach, Aventura, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Pompano, Hillsborough, that part of the world. Well, 142 has now jumped to 153. These colors that you see, let me explain. The blue color of 15,000 units and 46 buildings, they represent short-term rentals. Sometimes they're called condo hotels. I spend most of my time talking about the traditional condos, which you see in the pink color, the 16,400 units in 107 buildings. I focus on that because when you examine the population gains of South Florida, and you look at the amount of inventory that's in MLS, whether they're condos or whether they're houses, we don't have enough. What we need are more of the traditional condos to accommodate the population gains of South Florida, just the population gains. I'm not talking about second home purchases. I'm not talking about investment purchases. I'm talking about primary homes, primary homes, whether it's a house or a condo that someone can raise their family in. Well, we do find them in the 16,400, the 107 buildings. But we have to look at how many of those are under construction and when will they be delivered. So we did that for you. And I always like to show this particular data point so that you have some reference as to what we've actually done in the last 30 years here in South Florida. In the 2000s, from 2001 to 2010, we built almost 59,000 condos in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and that was arguably too many, way too many, in fact. They all got sold. Everybody lived happily ever after, but that was way too much supply. In the last cycle, we built 19,900. It is almost the perfect amount of inventory in condos that we have to build every 10 years to accommodate population gains in South Florida. That's the number. Again, not second homes, not investment condos, just primary homes. In this cycle, we've got 16,400 in development. We're running a little bit short of what we'd like, but we'll take it. The issue, though, is that only half of those are under construction. 8,200 units are under construction. The rest of them, folks, they're selling well. This is not a sales issue. It's a production issue. It's a construction issue. Developers are waiting for interest rates, short-term rates to drop a little more before they close on those construction loans. I think this is the year you're going to see a lot of legitimate groundbreakings on the rest of this inventory that's in development. In the meantime, though, there are 8,200 units that are under construction. Now, when will they be delivered? Well, we did that for you. Of the 8,200, the good news is that 60% of those are already sold. 1,300 of them will be delivered this year, followed by 1,200 in 2027. The graph kind of speaks for itself. We're not building, when I moved here 20 years ago, we were building 20, 25, maybe 30-story buildings. We're not building those anymore. We're building 50 stories, 60 stories, 80 stories. The Waldorf Astoria in downtown Miami is 100 stories, the first 100-story building to be built in Miami. They take time. A 20, 25-story building, 2 years, no big deal. But when you get to 50, 60, 70 and beyond, the engineering is different, the time frame is different, they take time. So you see, we have examined the delivery dates given to us by the developers. We need to build more. We need to build a lot more because the population gains are ongoing and the wealth migration also is very much ongoing.
I'm from Miami, where the sun shines bright, I'm from Miami, dancing through